Welcome to UC Today. My name is David Dungay. I'm here today with Bertrand Pourcelot from Enreach. Welcome, Bertrand. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty well. Welcome.
Excellent. Okay, well, today we're going to be talking about the UCaaS market and, in particular, some of the moves we've seen Enreach making over the last couple of years. Before we get into that, though, Bertrand, can you give us a bit of a rundown of yourself and the business?
Yeah, so Enrich, we are a European cloud UC player, born from the merge of VoiceWorks in Netherlands, Wix in Germany, and Central in France. We have very strong ambitions, both through organic growth and through merger and acquisitions. We are about 1,000 employees for about 180 million euro revenues, and serving about 2 million end users. Myself, as ex-managing director for Centile, I'm now leading the Enrich business towards service providers. And as a matter of fact, Centile has just been rebranded as Enrich a couple of weeks ago. So a good moment in time.
Excellent. So, Bertrand, tell me, Enreach, give me a bit of an idea of the scale across Europe, particularly, and how you're really going after the service provider market, as you sort of said there.
Yeah, well, the Enrich ambition, to be the European cloud UC leader is really built on the blending of having an international scale, but also local presence in the different European countries, and that's not so easy, yeah, to achieve. When you're small, it's quite easy. I'm flexible, I'm local in one area, easy. But when you start to want to provide scale and be global, this is a much, I would say, more tricky blending. And that's really our focus, scale and local presence. Scale to innovate, scale to be future proof, and local presence to be close and to be a proximity player with our customers and partners. And I think this is well illustrated by our recent acquisitions. As I said, three founding members of Enrich from three different countries in Europe, and we've added since then three other main presence in other European countries, with Denmark, Spain, and UK. I include UK in Europe as well. And also, we are combining different cultures, different entrepreneur spirits, and that's our vision, our views, of what Europe is.
Excellent. So, I mean, tell me, Bertrand, you've got this international presence, but also this local focus as well. How is this helping your partners and service providers? How is that really sort of helping them craft these different sort of propositions?
Yes, well, I would say, I think the first good news, is that we see a much faster adoption. And I'm not going to repeat obvious things, but yeah, COVID has really speeded up adoption. And I think that's really a first good news. Companies of all sizes are adopting more and more cloud UC, mobile. They need to speed up their digital transformation. They need to provide efficient working from home solutions. So that's really a good news. Also, with Zoom and Teams, which are everywhere, now it's a no-brainer. You don't have to explain what is UC or what is collaboration, and that makes really our life easier. For our partners, I think it's very important to give them the right tools. We think it's very important that they are not locked in, I would say, one size fits all approach. We see a lot of those in the market. We see global players, and also, I would say, large national heavyweight players really trying to enforce a one size fits all approach. At Enrich, we are convinced that the customer ownership is key for the partners, for the channel partners. And that's why we propose different go-to-market approaches depending on the market, depending on the region, depending on the types of partners, and also depending on their skills on the market position. And we think it's really important. Also, we have the right tools for that, at least we believe so, because we propose different solutions. We make it possible by offering one-stop shop SaaS and PaaS, so software as a service and platform as a service. We also propose white labeling as much as we can, as well as bring your own carrier options depending on the type of players. Also, we propose both multi-tenant and multi-instance approach. We believe that with this variety of solutions that we can really have the right, I would say, partnership with our customers and partners.
Yeah,
That's also, I think, differentiating. There's many ways to differentiate: customer service,
yeah.
support capabilities, of course, pricing, and so on. But also more from a technology perspective, providing APIs, customization capabilities, and we believe a lot in the power of APIs and cloud APIs, and all our solutions provide strong APIs for automation and integration with verticals, for example.
I'd be really interested. You mentioned there, we are seeing a lot of the sort of national players really fix these channel partners into a box, as you say, with a bit of a one size fits all approach. Increasingly, it seems like partners really struggle to differentiate because of these providers. How big of a challenge? So is that for channel partners generally? Your partners screaming at you. We need someone we can build around and tailor to make our own flavor of UCaaS. Are you seeing that?
Yes, indeed, that's I think a challenge for the partners to differentiate. But I would say above all, it's a challenge to keep control of their customers. We've always seen some risk like that, with mobile wholesalers and MVNOs. How I differentiate, how I keep control of my customers and my business customers especially. And I think we start to see similar things with UC. And we observe, I would say, through consolidation also additional challenges, because with this consolidation, sometimes the number of suppliers is reduced. So your options as a channel partner are somehow reduced. And so we see a lot of consolidation, and Enrich, I think, can be seen as one of the driving force behind that. But we see also a lot of recombined forces in the go-to market. We can see players changing roles or changing positions in the value chain. For example, distributors or resellers trying to become service providers, but also some vendors starting to bypass the channel through SaaS, as well as some service provider, as you said, building their own technologies or aggregating some open source components to create their own technologies and have more control. So all these changes, we believe, are very challenging and quite disruptive for the ecosystem. But it also creates a lot of opportunities with the right solutions, the right customization and integration capabilities. We believe that's a big opportunity for service providers and partners in general to take more market share and strengthen their position.
Okay, I'm really interested in that journey. The channel is a quite a blend of many types of businesses today. That journey from channel partner up the chain towards service provider and beyond. How many partners are making that leap up to acting like a service provider? And how is Enreach helping that, I guess? And how does that dynamic work with the really super brands, the big super brands out in the marketplace? And are channel partners really able to sort of get up there and take those brands on head to head?
Yeah, well, it really depends on their nature. It's not to rank them because it's not a ranking, but I would say you have a category which is more the dealer and have more like agent approach. Then you would have the resellers and then with the telecom opening and now resellers, service provider. This is becoming a bit more blurry. So the resellers usually will seen as an IT reseller or a telecom reseller reselling PBX and so on. Now, if he's reselling a SaaS, what's the difference between a SaaS reseller and a service provider? I would say it's really getting more blurry. But I think it also depends on where the partner is putting his real value add. Is it just through, I would say, consulting services to really understand the end user needs and so on, which is key? Or he wants to really bring value through his own, I would say, BSS or orchestration, which is really going towards the service provider world. But he may also just rely on the supplier BSS and portals. And that's what we believe, at Enrich. We can propose you either a one-stop shop with our own BSS, portals, etc., even if you can white label it, or deliver our platform to a service provider that may even host it himself and integrate within his own environments. So we have these different flavors. And I think that really depends on the partner where he sits in the journey on the one hand, but also where he wants to be or plans to be. Because of course, I would say all these partners, on depending also on their local markets, are not at the same place, and they may also have I would say complementary activities, which could have been before their main activities, in a vertical or in IT or designing websites or whatever. It depends from where they come. They could be a minutes resellers adding VAS. They could be a telecom reseller really going to UC and collaboration. So it really depend on their journey.
Excellent. So, I mean, it's really heartening to hear. It doesn't matter what type of partner you are. There is an option. There is a journey. There is a route to go down, which is great. I'd like to go back to this phrase you used a few times over the last couple of conversations we've had. The slave to the transformation. Now, how big a problem is this really? And what do we mean by that? And what's the impact this slave to the transformation is? What is that having on the market? What impact is that having?
Yeah, I think that's I'm using this because I think that to exist and have a voice in the market, you really need scale, and the right muscles, if I can say. Without such scale, you really risk to be a slave to the market transformation, and maybe I'm quite receptive to this, because I think that as Centile alone, we would likely have been in such a situation, at least bear the risk of being there, if not joining Enreach. But with Enreach, as a fast-growing player, both organically and through merger and acquisitions, we can pretend, I believe, to be a driving force. And it's very important to be such a driving force in the overall cloud and digital transformation, and that has been even accelerated by COVID. So I think it's very, very important. And also with all these changes and disruption, I think that the partners and the channel partners, especially whether they are IT, telecom, from a vertical and so on, they need to see you and trust that you are, a future-proof driving force in this fast-changing UC environment. I think that's really important for them. And we were very glad to have a recent confirmation by Frost and Sullivan radar study too, that we were, in these potential driving seats.
Okay, so 2021, Bertrand, what does that look like from your perspective? We're seeing, situations are starting to improve around the world slowly with the rollout of vaccinations. What are your expectations for this year, and what are the big trends, that we should look out for?
I would say, first of all, and maybe it looks obvious, but I think the migration to cloud on mobile will keep on accelerating. And we believe we are very well positioned there because we're quite strong, in full fixed mobile convergence and in mobile first. I think it's good to keep in mind that VoiceWorks was one of the first and largest full MVNO in Netherlands. That Centile were one of the largest mobile PBX deployment in Europe, at Elisa in Finland. So that's really the good ingredients, to pave the way for mobile leadership in Europe. Second, I would expect more and more automation and integration between the communication environments and, I would say, the enterprise and vertical environments. People don't want silos. That's really the key thing in the digital transformation. I would also expect quite a few further evolutions in the channel ecosystem, depending, of course, on the vertical and how the value chain will transform. But I expect the channels to be quite, I would say, shaken up. This landscape should really keep on evolving.
Okay, I mean
Um,
the
yeah,
channel's always an evolving beast. I want to pick up on that point. Really dig into that. The value chain. Where is that value? What does that value chain look like, and where is that value going to sit for partners?
yeah. Well, again, it depends on on their journey, and sometimes people are a bit not blind, but they look at the future, too much influence by their track record and own trajectory. For example, if you have a big margins on or historical big margins on minutes or traffic or broadband, you really look at that key, and you may just want to offer, very price aggressively some UC add-on, but maybe that's not the way forward. So, and you more and more see bundles, and I think that's really with this capability of bundling. And I think the BSS orchestration, e-shops are key for that. How you support this type of bundles to adjust your position in the market. But I believe there are still room for all types of channels because they own the customers, they know their needs, they have this relationship. And when we talk about proximity, local presence, the channel is a key part of that. Although you need the right culture and the right, I would say, attitude and behavior to fit there. At Enrich, we often say we are on a mission. We want to create contact magic, and to create contact magic, which is that's a dream and a north star, if I can say. But that's not only through the products and user experience, but that's also with the attitude, with the relationship with the partners and customers. And I think that's really key.
Excellent. And one final point I want to pick up on is interoperability between platforms. We're seeing some big deals with big brands. What are your expectations in 2021 for that? Is that going to continue, and what sort of impact is that going to have on the rest of the market as we see these solutions start to integrate and interoperate with each other?
Yeah, we think that the openness, the interoperability, and the flexibility will be key in the market. On the one hand, as we said, there are some big brands, heavyweight champions, pushing their names, and a lot of people have adopted these solutions, which is great, but it's also a threat for the whole ecosystem. But I think that a lot of enterprises have picked up a solution, in emergency mode for the working from home and all the COVID-related impacts on the distributed workforces. But they will likely revisit their choice to look at more with a more global approach. Okay, how it integrates, what are the lock-ins, what are the potential future of that, and as Sentai, we've already been focusing a lot on the interoperability to work with best of breed partners, and we keep on doing that at Enrich. Of course, it's a blending as well. You want tight integration with some of the components, with some of the ecosystems, and looser ones, but the openness must be there. Standard APIs, evolutive solutions. I think that are key elements. Also, I think that because we didn't touch on that, but that security and privacy will be very important going forward. There are big noise, on the WhatsApp and number of names, the US Cloud Act and so on. So yeah, some are noises, some are very relevant. So I think that enterprises and also public sectors, governments, health sector will be more and more looking at these things. So privacy and security will also be I would say a key selection criteria, with of course the total cost of ownership as well. It's always very key to be cost effective.
Excellent. Well, look, Bertrand, I think that's a great place to end today's discussion. Thank you for sharing with me your views on the market, and the passion you have for this space really, shines through, which is great.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching me, David Dungay, on UC Today. If you like today's discussion, please give us a like and a share on social media. It's always appreciated. I'll see you next time.